High above the city stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was covered in thin leaves of gold, his eyes were made of sapphires, and a large red ruby shone on his sword hilt. He was admired by all for his beauty. One night, a little swallow flew over the city. He was on his way to Egypt to escape the cold winter. Stopping for the night, he rested beneath the statue of the Happy Prince. As he was about to sleep, he felt drops of water falling on him. Looking up, he saw that the statue was crying. "Who are you?" the swallow asked. "I am the Happy Prince," the statue replied. "When I was alive, I lived in a palace where sorrow was never allowed. I was called the Happy Prince because I was always joyful. But after my death, they placed me here, high above the city, and now I can see all the misery of my people. It makes me sad." The prince then pointed to a poor woman below. Her child was sick, and she had no money for medicine. "Swallow, dear swallow," he said, "take the ruby from my sword and give it to her." The swallow hesitated, for he was eager to go to Egypt, but the prince looked so sad that he agreed. He plucked the ruby and dropped it into the woman's house. She was overjoyed. The swallow returned and slept beneath the statue. The next day, the prince saw a young man shivering in his attic, trying to finish a play but too cold to write. "Take one of my sapphire eyes and give it to him," the prince said. Again, the swallow hesitated, but he obeyed. The young man was delighted, thinking someone had sent him a rare gift. The following night, the prince asked the swallow to give his second eye to a little girl who had lost her matches in the snow. "I cannot see if I give you my other eye," the prince said. The swallow wept but obeyed. Now the Happy Prince was blind. "Stay with me, little swallow," he begged. And so the swallow stayed. Each day, the swallow flew over the city, reporting misery and poverty. The prince ordered him to pluck off the gold from his body, leaf by leaf, and distribute it to the poor. Soon, the statue was dull and grey, but the people of the city were happier. Winter arrived, and the little swallow grew weak. "Goodbye, dear prince," he whispered one last time, and with that, he fell at the prince's feet dead. At that moment, a loud crack sounded within the statue. The Happy Prince's leaden heart had broken. The next morning, the mayor and the city officials looked up at the statue. "How shabby he looks," they said. "He is no longer beautiful, and the swallow is dead. Let's pull him down and melt him in the furnace." And so they did. But strangely, the prince's heart did not melt. It was thrown away onto a heap of rubbish, right beside the little swallow's body. Later, God asked an angel to bring him the two most precious things in the city. The angel brought the Happy Prince's leaden heart and the dead swallow. "You have chosen well," God said. "The little bird shall sing in my garden forever, and the Happy Prince shall dwell in my city of gold." Moral of the story: true happiness comes from selflessness and compassion. The Happy Prince and the swallow teach us that kindness and generosity are more valuable than wealth and beauty.